Today is World Day Against Trafficking, and I am using my voice to bring more awareness to what is going on surrounding human trafficking and how we can save our children. Now, I am not an expert in this field. I am just sharing from my heart, and I am really just an educated and concerned human being. I know that it's extremely important for us to have a trauma-informed approach to anything we are consuming right now, especially these types of topics. So first and foremost, when you experience any type of trauma or any activation of a past trauma or any tension or uneasiness within your body when you are consuming something, know it is first and foremost so important to find and embody safety. There are so many topics going around and so many issues and so many movements that bring a lot of emotional heaviness. So keep coming back and finding safety within your body. The easiest way to do that is with breath work, deep belly breaths, or left nostril breathing, or alternative nostril breathing to release any anxiety and just come back into your body. Know that you can always pause. You can always log off social media. You can stop consuming mainstream media. You can stop consuming. It's your choice. And for me, I've been waiting a little bit to speak on this subject because it has been challenging to digest. I've known about human trafficking and sex child slavery probably 20 years. But to actually hit record and voice how I feel about it and voice how important it is for us to come together and shift this reality was more of a challenge. And it's important, as someone who identifies as a light worker, to bring awareness to the shadows, to acknowledge them, to accept them, the shadows within myself and the shadows within our collective human consciousness, our humanity, the history of our humanity, the present of our humanity, so that we can shift it and that our past and our present are not predicting our future. If we let things like human trafficking and child slavery keep going, because that's just how it is, then what are we doing with our lives? It's selfish to just ignore what's going on. And everyone has their own role. Everyone has their own choice. Every single person has their own role to play. But for me, I cannot stay silent anymore. And so let me just dive in to a few of my notes that I have. It's really important for each and every one of us to do our own research, to find experts and organizations that we trust. Don't just look for what people are posting on social media. Don't just listen to the mainstream media. Do your own research regarding any topic, but especially regarding human trafficking. And do your own research. That's all I gotta say about that. Do your own research. And some of the experts that I have found over the years, and especially most recently, the ones that I know, like, and trust are Tim Ballard and Our Rescue, which is Operation Underground Railroad, and they have rescued more than 4,000 children from sex trafficking, and they have played a part in the arrest of more than 1,500 traffickers worldwide. So I very much trust them in what they are doing and support them in their movements. I also trust A21 and Hope for Justice International and DoSomething.org, as well as many other organizations, but those are the main ones that I would suggest to start diving into their websites and really start understanding what's going on. Now, growing up in the United States, I thought, I was told, trafficking happens elsewhere. It doesn't happen us safe. The facts say otherwise. And it's really important for us to understand that human trafficking affects every single country in this world. And there are more people enslaved today in 2020 than there have been in any other time of our history, even including when slavery was legal. There are over 40 million modern-day slaves, and 1 in 4 of those 40 million humans are children. 10 million children are currently slaves. Now, what is trafficking? Trafficking involves the transporting of someone in a situation of exploitation. What is exploitation? Exploitation can be forced labor, it can be marriage, prostitution, and it can even be organ removal. And it's really important for us to become aware of what's happening worldwide, what's happening in our country, what's happening in our state, and what we can do as individuals and what we can do by coming together in community to manifest, cultivate, change. So I will write a whole bunch of facts at the bottom of this video, as well as calls to action of what to do, but I feel called to share what some of the facts that I have found over the years that have really hit home for me the most, and to really just remind you that it's extremely important for us to face the darkness, to not run away from it, to acknowledge it and accept it, and then think, what do I actually desire to see, feel, and experience for myself and for every other human being on this planet with me? Let's shift into that together. It only takes 2 people to start a movement. So if there's one of you out there who's going to share this video, that's a movement right there. Just 2 of us. All right, so some of the facts. 71% of slavery victims are women and children. 2 million children are sexually exploited annually in the multi-billion-dollar commercial sex industry. Most child sex slaves are under the age of 12, and the life expectancy of a child sex slave is 7 years. The United States is the #1 consumer of child exploitation material. And the United States is in the top 3 for destination countries for bringing in children for child exploitation. So any time that you might have heard, oh, that doesn't happen in the United States, it does. Now, this fact for me really hit home as an adoptee. Reports indicate that a large number of child sex trafficking survivors in the United States were at one time in the foster care system. And I personally know a few people who have been in shelters in Los Angeles and have stated that they have witnessed children being abducted. 800,000 children go missing within the U.S. borders every single year, which equates to roughly 2,000 children per day. And in 2018, the Human Trafficking Hotline received more calls from California than any other state in the United States, followed by Texas and Florida. Now, to me, it's really important to do your own research, find the facts, accept them, and acknowledge them, and decide for yourself what your role is in this movement or in any other one. Maybe this doesn't hit home for you. But if we as adults aren't going to do the work to change so that our children are protected, who's going to do it? Who's going to protect the children if it's not us? Who's going to protect the teens and the young adults if it's not us? We must speak for the voiceless, and we must bring about change. So, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to share more of my resources and more of the organizations that I trust and that have been doing great work. But it's really important to do your own research and find out the facts yourself. And to know that this isn't going to shift overnight. But at the end of the day, we are all in this together. And us coming together in community will bring about healing and change. So that humans are no longer suffering because of exploitation and slavery. Thank you for listening. And may all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering, and live in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. I pray for the freedom, liberation, and healing of all beings in existence everywhere. Thank you. Much love.